Okay, hello again, everybody, and thanks for tuning into this live webinar, another one from Merchants Arena. This is Mike Tersini from Merchants Arena, and today I've got the great pleasure to be talking to you about how to protect your business from negative buzz and how to manage your online reputation, and the 12 surefire ways to protect your reputation. If you have been on one of my webinars before, you're probably wondering who I am. My previous experience includes almost 20 years in retail management, running stores across Ontario. And since 1998, I've been an e-commerce entrepreneur, sort of, running several successful web properties with distribution centers in East and West Toronto and now in the greater Sudbury area. We sell products online every day and all the time. And I've literally shipped both physical and digital products all over the world. For the last several years, I've been teaching video and web marketing in class and through online training portals. And now I work mostly entirely with small businesses, and I work with them to leverage marketing and technology to achieve maximum results. And one of our areas of expertise is in building business or personal reputations through online video and public relations marketing. So let's go ahead and get started. Well, it's really time to face a harsh reality, okay? People do talk online about their experiences with local businesses, and as you can see, they can be somewhat unsparing and even savage in their criticism. On this slide, you see a one-star review for a restaurant. This one is actually less hostile than some of the others I was considering showing you, but it's still pretty bad. Imagine if someone took to the web and told the entire world to avoid your business. Here's another one-star review from a Google Places page with the classic all caps. Good indication that this person was pretty fired up when they wrote this. Also notice on the bottom of the review, 3 out of 3 people found it helpful. And that right there in a nutshell is why reputation management is so important. Now, here's the scary part. Most small businesses have no idea what people are saying about them online. They're monitoring the important directories and review sites. They aren't managing the conversation, and they aren't using social media platforms to promote their good name, which means that any and all negative reviews and brand damaging complaints are going unanswered and unaddressed. Okay, here's something that most of us understand intuitively. It takes forever to build a good reputation, but only a second to destroy it. And I think this is worth repeating. It takes forever to build a good reputation, but only a second to destroy it. Because if anything, the stakes have gotten much higher in the information age. In this hyper-connected world, news travels fast and far. Good news, bad news, and everything in between. And that news doesn't necessarily go away or vanish after a few days. No, instead it's just stored on a server someplace where it's just a Google search away. When I say the stakes have gotten a lot higher, here's an illustration of what I'm talking about. Damage to your reputation isn't an abstract thing. It has real effects on your balance sheet. In November 2011, the Harvard Business Review published a study on the impact of online reviews of local restaurants. The authors of the study found that a difference of just 1 star in the average rating of the establishment led to a difference in revenues of 5 to 9%. And just think about that for a minute. That's a significant impact on a business no matter what the size. So you might be wondering, why do online complaints matter? And how would a star rating have such an outsized impact on my business revenue? Well, here's a simple answer. People put a lot of trust in their social networks. 90% trust online recommendations from people they know. And what's more, people put a lot of trust into total strangers. Almost 3/4 will trust reviews from people that they've never met. And this is the great double-edged sword of the internet. Positive word of mouth can be like rocket fuel for your company, propelling it into the stratosphere ahead of your competitors. But on the flip side, negative word of mouth can be like sugar in your gas tank. And here's the rub. Okay, the web has a long memory. As I mentioned, Google never forgets, which means that negative reviews can haunt you for a long time if you're reckless with your reputation. If someone is angry enough about you or your business, they may even set up a site dedicated to tearing you apart. Sure, you can have the site shut down, if it's untrue or libelous. providing that you find out about it. But the trouble, with wildfires is when you're stamping out one patch, another blossoms into flame, and sometimes you don't even know others are watching you burn as you go about your business. So, case in point, and this is a true story, I once had a client who made a promise to one of his customers, and one of those just to get the deal promises. And when the delivery of the goods, didn't happen or materialize as it should have, and a refund was denied, the customer, who was web savvy, launched a web page with the business's name and the web address with a big warning, caution, don't deal with these guys, and basically just stating the facts of how he was treated, and with a big picture of Edward Scissorhands to boot. Well, the business owner was shocked and totally stunned. And after he picked up his jaw off the floor and what remained of his ego, then the conversation started on how to ultimately rectify the situation with the customer. And once the customer was happy, he took that down. Okay, so this presentation is not about scaring you. Well, it's kind of partly about scaring you, but it's mostly about giving you some guidance in terms of how you can protect the delicate and scarce resource that is your online reputation. Not surprisingly, an entire new field has emerged to deal with reputation issues arising, with our wired age. It's called online reputation management, and it's a mixture of old-fashioned public relations principles and this newfangled internet marketing techniques like search engine optimization and social media marketing. And it's as much or more about being proactive in protecting your reputation as it is in being reactive when it's threatened. So let's drill down just a little bit further into this concept. Here are some of the key components that comprise online reputation management, or we'll call it ORM. First, ORM is about creating standard operating procedures that aim to prevent mishaps and minimize them if they do occur. And secondly, a huge part of this process is ongoing promotion and content creation. It's not too much of a stretch to say that in this information age, every business has become a publisher of sorts, or perhaps a storyteller, and is a better metaphor for that. A business is responsible for telling a story about their brand. The story doesn't end until the business closes its doors. So it's imperative that you shape and manage your story. Now, it's not impossible to totally control what is posted about you or your business online, but you've got to try your best to keep it in the right trajectory. Thirdly, part and parcel of telling your story is maintaining an active role on the web. And today that means participating in the social web. And I'm talking, primarily about Facebook, but also Twitter and YouTube and LinkedIn and other channels that make sense, whatever makes sense for your industry or niche. And fourth is building relationships is another important element of online reputation management. It can be as basic as providing good service, but it's also about maintaining an ongoing dialogue with your market. And what's more, it's absolutely vital to build relationships with these people that you find that are key influencers in your niche or market. Not just your customers, but also your suppliers and your colleagues, competitors, and whenever possible, local media outlets. The final element to online reputation management is being reactive. And for example, how you deal with negative buzz that threatens to derail your brand. It's a small piece of the overall puzzle, but people think online reputation management is all about fixing your SEO problem or bad review removed from a directory. And in reality, reputation management is about taking proactive steps so that you avoid these types of issues in the first place. You cannot erase negative reviews that are posted online about you. You can simply bury them and dilute them. So here's a key question to address up front. Who needs to engage in ORM? The short answer is everybody. People are talking about you online. Keeping your head in the sand is just not a viable strategy. It's a terrible strategy, actually. Every organization, indeed every individual, has got to pay attention and proactively manage their brand. Of course, there are some businesses that rely on their reputation more than most, like those in the food industry and the hospitality services. And likewise, those who provide professional services like lawyers and accountants, dentists, they basically live or die by their reputation. Okay, so now I want to dive into specifics of online reputation management, which can be classified into three areas: monitoring, managing, and promoting. And let's start with the monitoring. And monitoring is all about listening to your market and keeping your ear to the ground. That means knowing what's being said on social media sites like Twitter and Facebook, and blogs and search engine result pages, message boards, forums, and directories like Google Places, Foursquare, and ones like Yelp. And lastly, those key influencers that are present in your market or your niche. Every industry has them, and they command a lot of authority. And I want to recommend some great free tools that will help you effectively monitor all of this stuff that's going on online. They should be in every business's toolbox. First is Google Alerts. With Google Alerts, you can get email updates on the latest relevant Google results, and that's for web postings and for news on your name or your company or your keywords that are directed towards your industry. Every business should have an alert for their company name. There's no excuse not to have one or several of these. They take about 2 minutes to set up. There's also Social Mention. This is a neat little tool. Basically, it does what Google Alerts does, but for social media searches. Another is TweetDeck, which is an enormously helpful tool for keeping tabs on the conversation happening on Twitter. And finally, you should definitely have an RSS reader to keep up with all of the important blogs, forums, and media outlets that cover your industry. An RSS reader is a great way to aggregate the content from all these sites that you read on a regular basis, and all in one place. So you don't have to actually bounce from site to site to get the latest news. And I suggest Google Reader. It's probably the most popular and easiest to use of all of the RSS readers out there, and it's totally free. And here's a couple of screenshots, one from Google Alerts and one from Social Mention. And now I want to talk about management. You can sit back and assume that there's nothing damaging to be found. Setting aside the negative, you'd be also neglecting an absolute golden opportunity. If you don't actively manage your online reputation and that of your business, you can position yourself to powerfully build your credibility and authority, your trustworthiness, your popularity, and your net worth and your desirability to customers and stockholders. And which would you rather be, the #1 expert in your field online, or the person forever known for getting hit in the head with a watermelon in 1982? The second pillar of online reputation management is a little trickier, which is managing the conversation. And this piece encompasses the majority of ORM, and there's a ton of things that fall under this category, but I'll just run through a few of them here. And one is to claim your listings. And what I mean by this is claim all public listings of your business on local directories, starting with the most important, which is Google Places. By claiming your listings, you can exercise more control over what gets published under your name. Number 2 is to respond to complaints. And this one seems obvious, right? But there's one thing. Responding to complaints is a bit of an art, and it's something to practice and get good at seriously. And 3 is to encourage positive reviews. One of the best ways to strengthen your reputation and make it less vulnerable to stray negative comments is to build up a stockpile of evidence that supports your good name. In practice, this means cultivating relationships with your customers and encouraging them to say nice things about your company, your staff, and your products. So some of you might not be sure exactly what the phrase claim your listings means, and I'll just take a second to explain it. On this slide, you'll see an example of an unclaimed Google Places listing. Google Places is one of those many business directories that consumers use to find local merchants and service providers. By claiming your listings across these different directories, not only will your business become more visible, but you'll have more control over the content and messages that get actually published. Responding to customer complaints and negative reviews is, surprisingly a big part of online reputation. Sure, tracking and responding to negative reviews is not one's idea of a good time. But here's the thing, it's really effective. In fact, graceful handling of customer complaints can actually boost your standing in your market and help you develop even more customer loyalty. And I suggest making it a part of your routine to check the important directories on a regular basis and engage the people who have taken the time to write a review about their experience with your company. And encouraging positive reviews, this is not something that, this is something that a lot of businesses basically struggle with, but it's so important to make a standard practice to channel customer enthusiasm and collect testimonials and encourage them to write reviews on directories like Google Places and Yelp and City Search and the others. That means conditioning all of the people who face your customers to collect positive feedback when they hear it. And just take advantage of happy customers. It means, thinking up creative ways to make it easier for your customers to submit feedback. Creating comment cards is one approach that's also been proven to be very effective. Okay, and the third pillar to online reputation management is promoting and promotions. And this is the fun part. And but here's the thing. A lot of businesses are wary of web and social media in particular because they can't control what's being said. And I'm here to tell you that social web is an amazing resource for every business, and you should be using it to its fullest potential. Sure, you can't control, what's being said on Facebook and Twitter, but here's the good news. You can control what you say about your company, which means you have the power to influence the conversation. But you've got to get out there and make your voice heard on a regular basis. Passivity isn't an option anymore, and brief spurts of activity won't do the job either. And what does this mean in practice? It means you've got to give this whole social media thing a try. It means you've got to start thinking of your website as something more than an electronic business card, but as a living, breathing member of your public relations team. It means going out of your comfort zone and recording a few YouTube videos so that you can rank higher in the search engines. It means getting over your reluctance to ask your customers for reviews and testimonials. Now, this may seem like a lot of effort, and I know, most small business owners aren't exactly flush with the extra time and cash to say the least, but keep in mind that virtually everything that you do to manage and improve your reputation will also bring you more customers through the door. It'll increase your sales activity, it'll solidify your position in the marketplace, and boost your overall profitability. Now that we've covered some of the key components of online reputation management, I just want to take a few minutes to introduce a handful of best practices and guidelines that basically benefit any business. So one thing I want to really stress is that online reputation management is an ongoing process that, when done correctly, it's woven into every part of your business, but particularly sales and marketing and customer service. It's not a one-time thing that you can do in a response to a crisis. Given the importance of your reputation and its fragility, reputation management should be just baked into everything that you do as a company. Trust me, you don't want to have to come up with a reputation marketing plan or management plan when you're in the midst of a panic. As a public relations expert once said, doing PR during a crisis is like eating healthy during a heart attack. What's more is, if you make your ORM a part and parcel of your business, you'll be in a much better position to avoid the crisis in the first place. And here's just one example. Let's say, God forbid, something bad, bad press or something against your company starts to rank high in the search engines. If you've already created a content creation process, you'll be in a much better position to ramp up your publishing efforts and push the hostile comments down the page and out of view. In contrast, if you don't have a process in place, the process of diluting that negative comment will be much more laborious and time intensive, and it may stay there for a long time. When your business starts to think about reputation management, there will be some hard truths that you have to face from time to time. And according to a reputation expert, Daniel Dermier of the Kellogg School of Management, most reputation challenges do not happen because of some external event or misfortune. Rather, they arise in the direct consequence of a company's action. Okay, that quote was a little opaque, but here's the deal. Sometimes you've got to face some unpleasant realities about your products, your delivery, or your customer service. It may not be perfect, but facing the truths is the difference between a company that's willing to grow and improve and a company that's destined for stagnation and squandered potential. And that may sound harsh, but it's true. So I want to take a brief moment to draw a distinction between owning up to a mistake, with honesty and grace, versus going through the motions and saying things that you don't mean. Everyone can spot a false apology from a mile away, yet, somehow people try and get away with it anyway. So here's a quick way to test if your apology is genuine. Does it contain the word if? If your apology contains this word, you're probably giving a bad apology. Why is it important to know how to apologize? Well, a big part of online reputation management is knowing when and how to fall on your sword. And, this may sound like it's too simple or too obvious to address in this presentation, but trust me, People and organizations fail at this seemingly simple task every day. Just watch CNN for 20 minutes and I guarantee you'll see a non-apology. To clarify, I just want to add that an apology doesn't have to be an exercise in groveling. 9 times out of 10, that's just unnecessary and it's not effective. But sincerity is always vital. So your business is more than just your livelihood. It's your baby, right? So moreover, it can feel like an extension of yourself, and that's why when someone says something critical online, it can just really sting. It feels like a personal insult, like somebody's attacking you. But believe me, bad things happen when you take it personally. I've seen too many cases when emotions get involved and things start to get messy in public, and it can happen in a very unflattering way. Jeremy Stoppelman, co-founder and CEO of Yelp, which is an online directory that maybe some of you have heard of or have used to like find a local restaurant or something, says that hands down, when I've seen a conflict, it's usually because the business owner is enraged, furious, or personally hurt. Give yourself some time to cool off and engage in a respectful, courteous manner, and that is great advice. Think of every commenter as an investor in your company, and by providing their input, positive or negative, they're investing in the success and growth of your organization. Also, I want to clarify that online reputation management is not about engaging every critic, responding to every bad review. And not only is that not like a scalable option, but doing so can make you look kind of thin-skinned. So not every bad review merits a response, especially the ones that are clearly meant to be inflammatory. Your customers and searchers that are online will be able to distinguish legitimate reviewers from the hot-headed comments. In other words, don't waste your time feeding the trolls, so to speak. Okay, so let's dive into some of these again and into a little bit more detail as we cover the 12 surefire ways of protecting your reputation. So first, let's start with listen to what your customers are saying. One of the most important things that you can do is set up systems to be able to monitor what people are saying about you online. And one of my favorites, again, it's Google Alerts. Okay, with Google Alerts, it's a great free service provided by Google. It essentially allows you to be alerted anytime something is being searched for within Google or being posted within Google. Okay, so if somebody says something about your name or your business name, people who work for you, anything like that, you can have Google alert you proactively so that you can monitor what's being said. So it's just a very, very effective way of being aware of what's out there. Number 2, monitor social media sites, blogs, and forums. So again, lots of information is being shared with you. Not all of it is just being picked up in the search engines. A lot of it's on social media, and you can use additional tools that will help you find that content and find out what's being said about you quickly and effectively. Some of our favorites is Google Reader, TweetDeck, Hootsuite, and Social Mention. Okay, these are all tools you can use to monitor that conversation that's being said about you in social media sites, blogs, and forums. So you've listened, all right? Those are the tools to listen to the conversation being said about you. Next is to contribute to the conversation. And now, why do you need to contribute? Well, again, as I said before, you want to be proactive about making sure that there's enough good stuff being said about you online so that ideally for, any negative stuff that's out there, it starts to weigh more in your favor of the positive. And you kind of, in effect, you kind of bury those negative things that are being said about you. Now, you can't control everything that's being said about you online, right? You've got to accept that. You can do your best to delight your customers. You can do your best to try and rescue any situations that have gone wrong, as they inevitably will. But unfortunately, you're not going to win 100% of those battles. So it's really important that you do your best to make sure that you are adding enough content to the conversation so that that ratio of positive to negative content that's out there online about your business is tilted in your favor. Okay, so let's talk about some specific strategies to do that. One is to set up profiles in all of your key directories and networks out there where people are likely to review your business. Google Plus Local is the most obvious and most important one, but there's lots and lots of them, right? Yelp, TripAdvisor, and the ones that may help your particular business. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, there's super pages. I mean, there's just all kinds of places. Now, unfortunately, most small businesses that I talk to do not proactively set up these profiles and manage these profiles. Now, what that means is that likely there's profiles that exist about your business because Google and TripAdvisor and Facebook and all those will allow profiles to be set up about your business to make sure, that something is captured to acknowledge that your business is there. And there could be bad information on there or wrong information. There could be people saying things about you on your profile that you don't even know about. So you want to go and take ownership of those profiles and all of those key directories and networks to make sure that you are managing the information that's on those profiles. Number 4 here, start blogging. A great statistic here from HubSpot, business blogging leads to 55% more website visitors, okay? Putting good content out on the web is like having good bait for fish, right? You're putting something out there that is attractive to searchers and it's attractive to the search engines. So again, this is a great way of creating content that shows up in the search engines and hopefully helps to bury anything that's negative being said about you online. Once you've created that content, do everything that you can to make sure that it's spread as widely as possible, right? Add those social media sharing buttons. Email the content out to people, put it in a monthly newsletter, get it out the door that way. There's lots of ways that you can get that content out there, but you've got to make sure that you're creating the content on a regular basis, and blogging is a great way to do that. Another great way to do it is number 5 here. Make educational videos and post them to YouTube. They don't necessarily have to be educational, but people love videos that are kind of how to related and teach them how to do something. You can see an amazing stat here from Forrester Research. Any given video stands about 50 times better chance of appearing on the first page of search results than any given text page in the index. So Google and other search engines really love video, and there's a reason why, because people, searchers, everybody really love video. Video consumption is just shooting through the roof. It has been for years, and it continues to do so as we now have more and more portable devices that play videos in a really nice way. So we're watching them on our smartphones, we're watching them all over our iPads and other tablets, right? So video is just going through the roof. People love it. It's more engaging than just text is typically. And the cool thing is, just about any business can create videos that are engaging, right? You can see here how to tie a tie for beginners. Well, if you're a men's clothing shop, this could be a great series of videos on how men should dress appropriately on certain occasions. How to tie those ties properly, when you should wear cufflinks. Should you wear a double-breasted suit or not, right? There's all kinds of content that this men's clothing shop could put up there, but that goes for any business. I mean, restaurants can show how they prepare some of their favorite meals. You can give tours of your business. Really, the number of ideas is just endless, and you've got to be creative. But video is an absolute fantastic way to get good, positive content about your business out there online. Right, so next is to delight. Okay, delight your customers and be easy to work with. Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon, one of the most successful CEOs of the last 15 years or so, said, "If you build a great experience, customers tell each other about that. Word of mouth is very powerful." Again, we all instinctively understand this, right? But understanding it and doing something about it are two totally different things. So it's critical that you do something about it. So number 6 here, promote remarkable customer service at your business. Try to create a service culture at your business. Hire people who enjoy providing great service and really encourage that. One of the best ways to do this really is just to take care of your employees. I mean, there are all kinds of studies that show that happy employees equal happy customers. Okay, happy employees tend to smile more. They tend to bend over backwards to take care of your customers. And so anything that you can do to create that culture of positive employees at your business will result in more happy customers. Now, all of that is kind of intangible, but what you can do is you can establish metrics and rewards to really measure how you're doing at taking care of your customers and reward employees who are doing a good job so that, you can continue to promote that good customer experience. Encouraging employees to collect testimonials as well from happy customers is fantastic. And then sharing client praise with your team so that, again, you're enforcing that culture to take care of customers. It's really, really critical. If you just search for Net Promoter Score online, you'll find plenty of sites that explain exactly what this is and how to use it, but it's just really a super, super simple, quick survey that you can use to identify, how your customers are feeling about you and how likely they are to share their feelings with other people. Really, what you're trying to find out is how many promoters you have out there and how many detractors, right? The promoters are the people that are saying very positive things about you, and the detractors are the people that are saying very negative things about you. And your job is obviously to try and get more promoters and less distractors. And the net promoter score is just a really nice, simple way of measuring this to give you a net score that you can track and monitor to see, if you're making improvements in your business. So really, really effective, simple tool that I suggest you use. Again, it's called Net Promoter Score, and just search for that online and you'll find the details on how to put that to use for your business. All right, number 8, just say thank you. Say thank you to your customers. It's amazing how, a good old-fashioned handwritten note, how far that really goes now, right? Because we're so used to just things happening that are on email and text messages and online, and honestly, in a lot of industries, we're just completely gotten used to just poor service. I mean, we don't expect much from businesses, right? It's amazing how much you can accomplish with just a simple handwritten note. But it doesn't have to be a handwritten note. Like one of, some of the favorite things that we really like are editable arrangements. And editable arrangements make a great thank you gift. People really enjoy getting those. Stuff like send out cards and Postagram is a very, very cool app that you can find for your iPhones that allow you to easily send thank you messages and cards and images to people. And then, of course, there's the good old handwritten note for a measly, 45 cents. You can get customers for life because people just really, really appreciate you taking this kind of old-fashioned customer service step. It really does go a long way, and it's no surprise that businesses like, Brooks Brothers have been thriving for decades now, still incorporate something like this in their business. All right, next is to collect. It's really, really important that you have a system for collecting customer feedback, referrals, and testimonials so that you can get as many of those positive things said about you, okay? Because the reality is, again, we talked about earlier, satisfied customers tend to not leave as much in the way of reviews and feedback. You've got to make it very, very easy for them to do so and give them just kind of a slight encouragement to do so, in order to get the number of positive things being said up. Because otherwise, it will be just the really negative people, to the really upset people that will tend to publish their reviews and their feelings online. So some simple systems for doing that, free and paid survey tools out there to collect client feedback. We've used both Survey Gizmo and SurveyMonkey very successfully. Both really cool tools and have free to inexpensive accounts that you can use. And it's just a super simple way of collecting feedback. Number 10 is to set up channels for receiving voluntary feedback. So, just make sure that you're making it easy again to reach out to people and let them have an opportunity to give you that feedback, whether it's in a survey or some other form. So include the link to that survey in your email signature. Put up simple web forms on your website for people to leave feedback, or in your invoices or on your receipts. You'll see this a lot in restaurants or grocery stores and things like that, where it says at the bottom of your receipt, hey, go to such and such website and leave a review, and you'll also get a coupon for your next visit, and that type of thing. And incorporate the request for feedback into any newsletter that you send out on a regular basis. There's really lots and lots of different ways that you can create an easy channel for people to give you feedback. So just look at them and really put as many of them out there as possible to make it as easy as possible for your customers to give you really good feedback. All right, and finally here's plan, right? You want to have a plan of attack for what you're going to do when negative things are being said about your business. In the case of creating a plan, processes are greater than improvisation, right? You don't want to be improvising when it comes to some sort of stressful or negative situation. You want to have a protocol and processes for how you address the negative things that are being said about you online. So first of all, develop a process for responding to negative buzz and do it before you need it, okay? In terms of a process, you want to have a simple system that you can teach all of your employees to follow. If you have a business where you have lots and lots of employees engaging with clients, and then you also want to have something that you as the business owner can follow as well. So here are the steps that we recommend. First is to listen, okay? Listen to the feedback and make sure that you understand it, and then decide whether or not to engage. It's not always worthwhile to engage somebody in a conversation, right? I think a good example of this is sometimes you'll see feedback online where somebody has obviously just completely gone off the deep end about your business, and if you engage them, there's probably no chance that that's going to go positive. It's probably just going to create, this additional incentive for them to continue bashing you online. So you've really got to decide whether or not it's worthwhile or smart to engage certain people. For, the ones that it is worthwhile, apologize, obviously, for the experience that they had. Let them know that you heard them, or at least affirm with them that you heard them, and that they shouldn't have been treated that way, and that was a mistake. That, it's something that you want to do your best to rectify. And then a really, really important strategy here is to do your best and then take the rest of the conversation offline, okay? If all of this happens online and it goes wrong, then really what you've created is just another additional trail of somebody that's beating you up online, and you don't want to do that. Ideally, take it offline and find some other way of communicating with them, right? So via phone or a call or letter, email, if you have to, whatever it is, maybe get the person to meet you in person at your business. Come into your business again and pick up some sort of coupons or something like that, so that you can apologize to them. But whatever you do, try and take it offline and then move on. Don't dwell on the negative feedback, okay? You want to learn from it, you want to do your best, and then just move on. Reflect on it, reflect on what could have been done differently in your business. Is there something that was under your control that you could have changed to prevent something like this from happening in the future? If so, act on it and make those changes, okay? Now, number 12, build a referral system. This is so, so critical. We've talked about making it easy for people to give you feedback. Well, when people have given you feedback and it's positive, you want to have a system in place to make it as easy as possible for them to share that positive feedback with other people so that you can get more and more referrals at your business. We all know that referrals are absolutely gold when it comes to getting more customers or marketing your business. I mean, nothing is better than getting a nice warm referral from a happy customer. But again, you've got to make it easy, okay? You've got to make it easy. You need to have a process and a system that's proactive and it's methodical in going after those referrals, all right? You should probably consider creating some sort of referral reward system, right? So we've all been to a business where it's, hey, refer a friend and get an additional 20% off your next purchase, right? It's that little nudge, it's that little bit of incentive that oftentimes will push somebody over the edge to get them to take the moment to refer somebody to your business. And it can make all the difference in the world. So that's the 12 specific things that you can do to proactively enhance your reputation online, and at the same time improve your situation in terms of your search engine results and the type of promotional benefits that you're getting from your reputation online. All right. Okay, and here are some action steps and some ideas that are free. Set up Google Alerts. Again, I want you to set this up for your company and your business. It's a free service. It's really important that you do that. You can also set it up for keywords on your competitors if you want to track them as well. One of the many tactics that we use to manage or help, in the manufacture of our client's reputation is to generate a QR code that links directly to a review site. A happy customer can scan it with their phone and leave a positive review right there and then. Okay, we have a free QR code generator on one of our sites. It's merchantsmobile.com, and there are many uses for this QR code, and it's totally free for you to use. You can have it linked to a business card, website, any of these reputation sites or review sites. We're also developing a web-based app that is going to help you dominate in the search engine. It's called Merchants Page One. It'll be free for now, and I'll be sending it to you in a link as soon as it's completed. I'll also post it with the recording that's posted of this webinar next week, and that is our launch date. And just follow the instructions and you'll find that more people choose you when they search online. Okay, my goal with this presentation was, basically to familiarize you, with online reputation management and give you some guidance on how to protect your business's good name. This presentation is by no means exhaustive, but, I hope that you have a clearer picture now than when you tuned in. And since you're all probably pressed for time and potentially reaching your saturation point for information, I'm going to wrap it up here and take a few questions. Before I do, I just want to acknowledge that you may be feeling a little overwhelmed by all of this online reputation management stuff, and I just want you to know that you don't need to do everything on your own. We can definitely help you out if you need assistance in developing a plan or executing a plan that you already have. Just let us know. All right, so I'm just going to open up the questions pane. If you have any questions, by all means, put them into the box here. Okay, so here's a question. What's your position on buying reviews? Okay, so the technical term for buying reviews is called astroturfing, and it refers to writing these fake reviews or hiring a third party to write them, basically on your behalf. Some people will try this in an attempt to dilute bad reviews or push them down the page, because you can't get rid of bad reviews that are honest. You can only dilute or work to bury them. And my position is it's a bad idea, a really, really bad idea. It's not ethical for one thing, and I think that if you trade your integrity, you end up losing so much in the deal. But also you can get caught, and then you'll get punished and banned from the sites. And if that happens on Yelp or Google Plus local, it's a pretty big deal. All of a sudden you lose a huge conduit into your market. So it's just not worth the risk, in my opinion. Sites like Yelp and Google are getting really savvy about sniffing out fake reviews. In fact, right now there's a huge lawsuit with Yelp suing one of these companies that post these fake reviews. They created hundreds of these accounts to post reviews on, and that's totally against their terms of service. Let's see what else here. Okay, there's another question about a website called Klout. What's your opinion on Klout? And I'm really not too familiar with Klout personally, but those who are even less aware, Klout is a site that basically measures a person's level of online influence, and it takes into account things like the number of Twitter followers that they have and their Facebook friends and stuff like that. I mean, in a way, it's a pretty unfortunate development, in my opinion. It remains to be seen whether it'll really catch on, but I see it as ripe for abuse. You could end up having people use it as a blackmailing tool. Like I have a huge Klout score, so give me a free dinner or I'll trash your business on Twitter. And that's sort of a nightmarish scenario. But here's another way to look at it. Regardless of your opinion on sites, like Klout, the fact is that consumers have a lot of power these days, and they have these powerful platforms to voice their dissatisfaction. So, they can reach a lot of people very quickly. But the flip side is true too. Positive word of mouth can really light up your business overnight. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap things up here. I like to keep these under an hour, as you know. And we'll see you on the next webinar in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for joining me today. And again, if you'd like some assistance putting these tips and strategies into action, we'd love to help you. Just get in touch and take care. And thanks again.